Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about subtracting integers. And I want to encourage you to say, I can do this. I can subtract integers and I can add integers because it's really just a process. And so we're going to start by remembering adding integers. Remember adding, we are working with two different rules. Number one, if they have the same sign, we're going to add the absolute values and keep the common sign. Right? So for example, if we have two negative numbers, we're going to add the absolute values and keep that negative sign. Or number two, if we have different signs, we're going to subtract the easy way, and I'm going to put that in quotes, and keep the sign of bigger absolute value. Okay, so there's only two situations. If we have the same sign when we're adding, we keep the common sign and add the absolute values. If we have different signs, we're going to subtract the easy way, meaning subtract the smaller number from the bigger number, and keep the sign of the larger absolute value. When we look at this in an example setting, notice here, I have different signs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, that means we are going to subtract the easy way. So 7 minus 3 equals 4. And the absolute value of 3 equals 3. And the absolute value of negative 7 equals 7. So we're going to make it negative. So the answer is going to be negative 4. All right, so that was different signs. Looking at the second one, notice what we have here. We still have different signs, so we're going to subtract the easy way. So different signs. We're going to subtract the easy way, so 124 minus 18 equals, and then that's going to be 106. And the absolute value of 124 is 124. And the absolute value of negative 18 is 18, so we make it positive because that's the bigger absolute value. So the answer is 106. All right, one more example. Here we have same sign, and that means that we're going to add the absolute values. So negative 16, the absolute value would be 16. And the absolute value of negative 35 would be 35. And so when we add those, we have 16 plus 35. We're going to have 1. We regroup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 51. And we're going to keep the common sign. And so that means it's going to be a negative 51 as our answer, because both of them are negative. All right, so that's the process. That's adding. So what do we do with subtracting? Here are the rules for subtracting. Number one, the first rule is don't subtract. Make it addition. Well, that's pretty easy. And the second rule is don't subtract. Make it addition. No, that's not a mistake. I'm telling you. Remember the rules for addition and do those. Don't complicate your life with a bunch of different rules. Make it addition and subtract. Okay? So we're going to make it addition and we're going to subtract by making it addition. Hopefully that makes sense. But we're going to make it an addition problem because that's what we already know how to do. Let's do an example. I've got negative 56 minus a negative 9. Well, subtracting a negative is the same as adding. And so if I am subtracting a negative, this is really negative 56 plus 9. Let that soak in. If I'm subtracting a negative, it's the same as adding. And so now I have different signs. So I subtract the easy way. 56 minus 9 is going to give me 47. And I keep the sign of the bigger absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 56 is 56. And the absolute value of 9 is 9. So I'm going to make it negative. So this is going to be negative 47. I made an addition problem and I added. Let's look at this next one. Two negatives over here made a positive. So two negatives make a positive. And if we look over here, we only have this one negative. But watch what I do. I'm going to give it a plus a negative. And so now my new problem is negative 14 plus a negative 21. And that's the same thing. See, I made it an addition problem. I can make it plus a negative. And so now I have the same sign. So I'm going to say 14 plus 21 is going to be 35. And I keep the common sign. And so that's going to be a negative 35 for my answer. See if you can do this one. Let me give you a hint. This is actually going to become a plus a negative 41. All right, so this one's for you. Try that one. As we scroll down here, this is nothing new. It's the same kind of concept, except we're going to add in one little piece. It's going to be a substitution. And so evaluate using a equals 24, b equals negative 36. Well, if I substitute those in, and I'm going to have 15 minus 24 minus a negative 36. Well, remember what we said. We don't want to subtract. We want to make this an addition problem. And so instead of minus, I'm going to make this plus a negative 24. And this one is going to become plus, because it's subtracting a negative, and subtracting a negative is the same as adding. And so now I have 15 plus a negative 24 plus 36. Well, if I remember my order of operations, I know I'm going to go left to right. So on these first two, I'm going to subtract the easy way because they're different signs. So I'm going to have 24 minus 15, and that's going to be equal to 9. And negative 24, the absolute value is 24. The absolute value of 15 is equal to 15. So I'm going to keep the negative. So this is going to be, now when I put all this together, it's going to be negative 9 plus 36, because I kept the sign of the bigger absolute value. And so I'm going to start it over again. I'm going to say 36 minus 9 is 27. And of course my absolute value of 36 is equal to 36. And my absolute value of negative 9 is 9. So I'm going to keep the positive. So this is going to become positive 27. All right? It's a lot all at once, but what I'm going to encourage you to do is to never subtract, always add. And that might be new to you, but you're going to see that if you just make them all addition problems, you're going to have no problems here. On this last one, I'm going to leave this one for you, but you're going to need to substitute and make it into an addition problem. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.